So this is a tutorial on a sprint for Roblox. It features a stamina bar like this. When you jump, it will slow down a bit more realism in that. Of course, when you hit 0 stamina, it will stop you sprinting. And it also, most sprints are you hold W, and then if you go a different direction, it stops. Like if you let go of W. But I've made it so you can go any direction until you let go, of course. So yeah, let's I'll show you how to make it. Right, so to get started, first we need a billboard GUI. So I have this one. I'll show you how to make it quick, so I'm just gonna delete it. So I have a R6 rig or R15, doesn't really matter. Just whatever your animation is, like match it up. So do a billboard GUI. Name it stamina. Add a frame named background. Then add another frame named bar. Put it into background. Stamina billboard GUI. Make it always on top. And extends offset, make it 3. So it's always on the right of your wherever it's parented to or adorned to. Then size, we're going to change it to 0.2 and 3. We need to use scale and not offset, otherwise if you use scale, then as you get further away, it will maintain the same size. So if you use scale, then it won't do that. That's all for that. The background, just make it a different color. It's like grey if you want. And then size, make it 1, so it fills out the entire billboard GUI. Then we go to bar, and we do the anchor point is 0.5 and 1, and do the exact same thing for the position, 0.5 and 1. And as you can see, next slide one. Because the anchor point down here, if we edit this size, say 0.5 on the Y scale, that's the stamina bar like draining, if that makes sense. Go back to 1. I'm going to change this to like that color. So that's all you have to make for that. Put it into replicate storage. You need a sprint animation, as I said before. Match it up with whichever type of avatar that your game is. So this game's R6 and this sprint animation's R6. I believe that's the only 2 for, yeah, it is. And then replicated storage, or I mean both those in replicated storage. Both of those in replicated storage, and then in starter character scripts, add a local script. I'll just delete this and show you. Here. Name it anything you want to name it. And let's get to scripting. So use input service. If I can spell, is I'm just gonna let it do it for me, honestly. There we go. We need replicate storage as well. The character, we need humanoid. And then we also need the animator. This is for the animations. We used to load animations onto the humanoid, but they got deprecated. Honestly, I don't remember why, but it did. So now you use the animator to load animations onto. And then you want to get the sprint animation from replicated storage, sprint, and you want to get the track as well. So sprint track equals animator, and then load the animation onto the animator with the track that we just got from replicated storage. We do this at the start because we don't We don't want to keep loading it every time we want to play it. So load it one time at the start and we can play and stop it whenever we want. We also need, yeah, the staminaGui. We don't actually even need to, we will clone it actually, clone it. Fabricated storage, stamina, which is this. Clone that. Oh, okay, it's doing everything for me. Parent. We don't really need to do it yet. Make sure it starts off as disabled. You don't have to do this, you can just disable it. Start with disabled, and then we also want the background bit and the bar, which we made here, background and bar. Background. I think that's all those. Then for the variables, we don't need that. Sprinting is false. Stamina, max stamina. Of course, we want the current stamina to match max stamina because we don't want to start playing the game with what's it called? We don't want to start playing the game with low stamina. This is the last time we press W. Actually, I'll name it last W. We name it like now, so we can reference it later, which I'll show you in a second. We're going to make a function name. Okay. If the value is true, so it's a boolean, so tab check that. If it's true, you don't have to do this tab check, by the way. Actually, I'll delete it. If it's true, then we want to start sprinting. So sprinting is true. We'll set the walk speed to 25 or whichever value you want to, and we'll also start the sprint track. If it's anything other than true, so false, then we'll stop sprinting. We'll set the walk speed back to default, which is 16, and we'll stop the sprint track. So then we're also going to need another function named is holding movement keys. And I forgot to add two tables even. Local held keys equals an empty table, and then local movement keys equals a table. But yeah, WASD. Enum means enumulation, I believe. I can't remember. But it's like a library of stuff. And keycode is one of the stuff. So yeah, WASD. This is how like keyboard input is interpreted, like keycode dot. Yeah. So now we have all of this, we can actually make this function. So for we're going to loop through the movement keys, and for the keys we're currently holding, which we haven't implemented yet, but for the keys that we would be holding, we're going to check if any of those keys are in this table, which is WASD. So if the held keys matches any of the keys, then it's going to return true. Otherwise it defaults back to false. So it will just never be true and it'll be false. So that'll start making sense once I start actually doing it. So use input service .input began connect input and game process event. So if game process event, then we're going to return end, and game process event is like if we're typing or if we're not even like tabbed into the game, then it's just going to skip over it. So it's not actually going to do any of the logic inside this function because we're typing or whatever. We don't want to. So every time it's doing it all for me. This is great. so every input we make, we want to put that input into this table. So input.keycode would be like WAS. If I held G, it will put G into this table. But this is useful for the Omni Directional sprint thingy. So we'll know if we're holding WASD and we won't stop unless we stop holding it. So we'll do if input.keycode equal to enum.keycode W, then if tick take away this is the last time we press W, last W is more than or equal to 0.2, and bonus sprint equals true. Or less than. I mean, if this is less than 0.2, then we're gonna start sprinting. And then we also need to put that back to tick. So if tick take away the last time we press W, which is another tick, is less than 0.2, then we're gonna start sprinting. Hopefully that makes sense. So you already had the last W up here as like a base value, I suppose. I'm probably not explaining this very well. And then we're going to need a input ended as well. Yeah, same logic with the game processed event. And then because it's input ended, when we let go of the key, we're going to set the key that we just put in there to nil, because of course we don't want that to be in our table anymore because we've let go. And then if we're not sprinting, if we are sprinting and we're not holding any of the movement keys, then stop sprinting, which will go to sprint. This will be false, so we'll go to here and then stop. So this will work currently. Obviously there's no stamina GUI and stuff, but this will work. So we're sprinting, I'm holding A, I'm not holding W or anything, but I'm still sprinting. If I let go, it'll stop. I can only start sprinting with W. Of course you can edit that yourself if you really wanted to. You can add double press A and you can start and it will click remain. But with the not holding W thing, it will keep sprinting. There we go. So now we'll do the stamina. So this is what the run service is for. So run service.heartbeat connect function delta time. The delta time is, I'll name it delta time, is time between each frame. And we need this because this heartbeat function will run at different times. Yeah, this will run at different intervals between each FPS. So if I'm on 60 FPS, then this function will run slower than somebody on 240 FPS, for example, which I can show in real time after I get the scripting in. So if we're sprinting, then show the staminaGui.Enabled equals true. Stamina, I'm gonna clamp like this. Clamp between 0 and max stamina. Yeah. So do that to 1, and then else. I'm not going to disable it, but yeah. So now I'll print stamina here. This isn't going to do anything with the GUI right now. It's going to enable it, but ignore it right now. So it's currently 100. It can't go above 100 and it can't go below 0 because of the clamp. So if I start running, it will start depleting my stamina, as you can see at the bottom left, or in the output, and then if I stop, it will start regenerating back. So now we have that, we can put it into the bar. So we're gonna down here, we'll do staminaGui.size equals udem.new 0.5, 0, and stamina. Yep, okay, there we go. So this is fairly simple maths. So if we have 100 stamina and the max stamina is 100, 100 divided by 100 is of course 1, which would make our Y scale, if I hover over udem.new, it's not going to show me. Basically, this is the scale on X, and this is scale offset on X, and this is scale Y. I'll just X scale, Y scale, but it also does X offset, and then Y offset, which is each of these numbers. So this is scale offset, X, X, Y, Y. And because we're using scale, which is either 0 or 1, this is perfect because this returns 0 to 1. So yeah, so this is currently 1, like by default, but say we start using stamina, this will be like 0.8, like in total, which is, if we have 80 stamina, 80 divided by 100 is 0.8. So I'll show you it, actually, I'll just show you. Oh, I did something wrong. Size. Udem 2, whoops. Not Udem. Udem. Why is it so thick? You can see it going up and down. Hold on. 0.5. Oh, the bar. Sorry. Not the entire GUI, we're doing the bar. Here we go. Right, as you can see, it's going up and down. So we're at half stamina, like that. Also, that's 0.5. Right, so now I can show you about this delta time thingy with the different times in different frame times. So I'm on 60 FPS right now, and you can see it's going down like this. Now if I go to 240 FPS, it's gonna shoot down. Straight away, look down. Because 240 FPS is obviously 240 frames per second, and the heartbeat function runs every frame. So because I'm on more FPS, it's running faster, making me lose stamina faster. So now if I go back to 60, see, it's a lot slower again. Like 4 times slower again. So to fix this, we'll literally just times it by delta time. Delta time is like time between each frame, like I said. So this is like 0.3, 0.03, whatever. And because that's such a low value, it's making this a really low value. So we need to also up this as well. So now, no matter what FPS I'm on, it'll always remain the same. So I run around, it's that, like that, and then I'll go to 240. It's the exact same. So that's cool. Now we'll make it so when we hit 0, if stamina equal to 0, then sprint equals, or sprint is false. So this is forces us to stop sprinting. Oops, 113. Life child is. Second info. Unide. Unide root. Pop. Fix that. So it's going to get to 0, it's going to force me to stop. I'm not letting go, and I got forced to stop. They stopped the animation and everything like for me, because we made that function to do it for us. Every time I hit 0, I get forced to stop. Okay, so for the very last thing, sorry, I forget what I'm gonna say, and I die inside. Yeah, for the last thing, all we're gonna do is when we jump, we're gonna slow the animation so it looks a bit more realistic. So that's super quick. Just do humanoid.state changed, capitals. That's old, that's new. If new is, do free falling. Then we're going to do sprint track, adjust speed, no, adjust speed, let's do like 0.3, elseif, if we landed, then put it back to normal, and that's what that is. So running around, jump, it slows, jump, it slows. Yeah, that's the whole sprinting thing. Let me know if you want any other tutorials on movement or anything, either to join onto this, like a whole movement system with dashing and such, maybe climbing. Just let me know, and yeah, hopefully you learn something.